Hey lovelies, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video we are going to learn how to make this beaded kimono. So if that's what you're interested in, please stay tuned and watch till the end of this video. Thank you. Starting off, I already folded my fabric into two and I'm folding it again to make it four. So we are using two for the front and two for the back. After that, I'm going to mark out 1.5 inches for my shoulder slope, and at the folded edge of my fabric I will mark out my neck width. In this case it is 3.5 inches, and I'll connect my 1.5 inches down to my neck width. So from the top of my fabric, I'm going to mark out my front length plus 1 inch. So if your front length is 16 plus 1 inch is going to make it 17. After that, I'm going to mark out my sleeve width of 14 inches. It does not have to be 14, but I wanted mine to be wide, so I'm marking it as 14 inches. After that, you come to your front length and you mark out the largest part of your body divided by 4. So that could be your hip, your waist, or your bust. After that, you are going to add 4 inches for ease, 4 inches for ease, and you connect that back to your sleeve. So you mark that same measurement down to your gown length, which is the largest part of your body divided by 4 plus 4. So you mark that down to your gown length and you cut it out. So you come to the folded part of your fabric and you mark out your neck width. In this case, mine is 3.5, and I'm going to mark out that 3.5 to the length of my gown, just as you see me doing in the video. After that, I'm going to cut it out and cut out my shoulder slope. So because of this, we'll be having 4 pieces of our fabric, so 4 no places joined together, so it's going to be 4 straight pieces. So now remember I said 2 for the front and 2 for the back, so we'll be separating 2 pieces out of the 4 pieces. The 2 pieces we are taking out is going to be used as the front piece. Now this other part that we're going to work on now is going to be the back piece. I'll go ahead to take out a chalk and mark out the wrong side of my fabric so as to not get confused. So now you will fold in the edge of your fabric, the part going to the center, not your armhole part. You are going to fold in the edge just as you normally fold a wrapper. So you will double fold it with like 0.25 inch on the wrong side. After that, we are going to be joining our front and back pieces together. So here you will notice that the shoulder is not going to be the same because we folded our back piece, but don't worry about that, there's no need to trim it off. So now I'll take to my machine and sew. So after joining the shoulder, you are going to have 2 separate pieces. Now if you have a straight piece of fabric that you are willing to use, that's fine, but I wanted a bit of a contrast, so I'll be using a plain black fabric. So now you cut out a long strip of fabric of 5 inches wide, but it should be long, the length should be very long. So after that, I'll be flipping my fabric over to the front piece. So now we'll be working on our front piece. I'll be using a chalk to indicate with the letter F, so you know that this is the front piece and don't get confused. So this part with our chalk is also the wrong side of our fabric. So this is the wrong side of my front piece. I hope you understand. So this is the tricky part. You are going to take the right side of your strip fabric. Now this long straight fabric cut out, you are going to take the right side facing the wrong side of your front fabric, just as you see me indicating in the video, and you'll be sewing down with 0.5 inches down to your shoulder. Remember that excess that came out of your shoulder. Now you are going to sew down to that part. So I'll take this to my machine and I'll explain what I'm going to do. Now when you get to that shoulder part, you are going to stop, just as you see me in the video. Now remember we folded our fabric to cut out, and my neck width is 3.5. so when you open up 3.5, it's going to give you 7 inches. So now we are marking out our neck width plus 1 inches. So mine is 7 inches plus 1 inch is going to make it 8. So initially I added more than 1 inch and I realized that it was too much. I had to sew it off. So now I'm like warning you beforehand, just add 1 inch and that's okay. Now you indicate with a chalk. So now from that point you indicated with a chalk, you are going to take it over to the other part of your front piece and you will continue to sew it down to the length of your fabric, just as you see me indicating in the video. And always remember, front side of your strip facing the wrong side of your front fabric. So after that, this is what you are going to be left with. Remember, we've not folded our strip, so it's still straight. Like after sewing half an inch out, it's going to remain like 4.5 inches. So now I'm going to flip my fabric over, just as you see me doing in the video. Now we are facing the right side of our front fabric. This is now the right side of our front fabric. That's why you see no chalk on it. You will need to take this over to your ironing table, and all the excesses you are going to shift it towards the band direction, and you will fold the edge of your band with 0.5 inch and you will use that to cover up your sewing. So just like you do a normal band. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So now you come to that neck part. You know the neck part is like fully opened. So now you will fold down the two edges with 0.5 inches, just as you see me doing in the video. You fold out the two edges because you are going to run a straight stitch down to seal your cloth, to seal your edges, so you will not be seeing any rough edges. We are going to cover all the rough edges now, just like you sew a normal band. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So I went ahead to do the same thing to my sleeve. So the same way I folded my band, I'm going to fold my sleeve like that to have a neat finish, just as you see me indicating in the video. So now you are not going to see where like the rough edge of sewing the band to the fabric. So you go ahead to join your side together with 1 inch down to your length. So now we are going to have one full piece of kimono jacket because the neck is attached, so just as you see in the video. So now I'm going to shift out my front part. This is me shifting out my front part, and I'll mark out my hip line because that's where my bead is going to end, and I'll mark out my hip line just as you see me doing in the video. So my bead is going to have a space of 1 inch, so that's what I'll do. I'm just going to mark out 1 inches down on one side of my kimono jacket. I'll be marking out 1 inches, 1 inches, 1 inches spacing because that's how I want my bead to be. But if you want your bead to be closer, you can use up to 0.5, 0.75. But anything more than 1 is going to be too spacious and it's not going to look so fine. So that's what you see me doing in the video. After marking that out, I'm just going to shift it closer to the other side so that I can follow the same line. I hope you understand, so I can follow the same line. Note I'm marking this at the wrong side of my back piece. Part with the black strip is my front part, and you saw me shift it away, so now I'm marking it at the wrong side of my back piece. So if it's a case where your bottom beads is smaller than the up part, like the part going to your shoulder, this is how you place it when you are beading. So you see the way I tilt it over to give me sort of like a triangle shape. This is how you are going to place it, but that's not how I'm beading mine. So my bead is going to be the same width from the beginning to the ending. Now this is how I measure out my bead. Remember my neck width is 7 inches, which is 3.5 times 2, and we added 1, that's making it 8. So now I'm beading my bead strings to be 10 inches because I want them to fall. I hope you understand. So you see me using a tape to measure it out. So my beading is going to be 10 inches long because I want it to drop, so it's not going to be straight. Now remember, we already marked out our 1 inches difference, so it's not going to be hard to indicate where to put your needle. But what I want to say is, when you are putting your needle, you make sure it does not go to the right side of your fabric. So I had to bring my camera closer so you see what I'm saying. It should not go to the right side of your fabric, so you will have a neater finish.